Michelle Walker, broker owner of St. Louis Buy and Sell Realtors. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good, good. So thank you for joining us today. You've taken a unique approach to building your business through community involvement, but to get things kicked off, can you give us just a little bit about your background and your brokerage?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm the broker owner and founder of STL Buy and Sell. We've got two offices in the St. Louis metro area, and between the two offices, we have about 60 agents. We have agents that specialize in what I call retail real estate, which is your buyers and sellers, weekends and evenings, typical. And then we also have quite a few agents that focus on investment. We do new construction and we do property management as well.
Very cool. Very, very diverse offerings. So, like I said, you took a unique approach to growing your business, and that was done through community engagement. So, can you just go into a little bit more detail on what that strategy entailed?
Sure. To be totally honest, it was somewhat accidental. I'm very passionate about serving others and being involved in the community. I guess it was about 2010. The association sent an email saying, "Hey, we need people to serve." And I wasn't really sure exactly what the grievance committee or a committee even was at that point. But I thought, as a broker, I need to start getting to know people in the industry, build relationships with agents and brokers. And, I had been one of those secret agents before that, didn't have a picture on my business card or anything like that. So I signed up for a committee. And the next thing I knew, I just was being what was called, we call it voluntold. People were saying, "Hey, we'd like your help in this area or that area." And so I got really involved with the Realtor Association at that point. But I also, around the same time, got really involved with the school district that my kids are in school. I went to a PTO meeting. If anybody's ever been to a PTO meeting, they're not real fun. And at that point, I decided that my talents would probably be better. I'd be able to serve better at the district level instead of at the PTO at the school level. So I signed up for the Community Relations Committee for the school district. One thing led to another, and I've been on the school board now as an elected official for the last 6 years. So that's just a little bit about how it kind of started. And we'll, I think, get in and talk more about it as we go.
Very, very cool. Now, your motto is "Give back to get ahead." So, can you explain that in a little more detail, and then how that translates into your approach to building your business?
Sure. When I came up with that, I kind of feel like it was accidental. I didn't start serving in the community or serving within the association to grow my business. It was more to grow myself and, to learn about what was out there besides what I had seen in the past. So give back to get ahead. Again, it was sort of an accidental. What I discovered was the more involved that I got within the association, the more involved I was within the community, the more successful my business was becoming. And each new challenge or role that I took on, I could see a direct correlation in the growth of my business as a result of that. So you can't go out and serve hoping to grow your business. If you do that, you're going to fail at it miserably. You have to go out to serve to be serving. And what I discovered was, as you serve and you get to know people that are serving with you, they want to work with you. They want to recommend people to use you as their agent. They want to use you themselves. It gets you in front of people in a way that they truly appreciate, because they get to know who you are as a person.
Yeah, I think that's an incredibly valuable point. And I was talking to somebody the other day. We're all eager to share a good experience with somebody, and I was talking about it from a sales perspective. And to your point, you don't want to go in with the intention of, "Oh, I have to get into this to try and sell." But if you really show who you are, and then you're also good at what you do, then people are very eager to recommend you to a friend or somebody else. So that's I think that's
Absolutely. And I'll
really
tell you,
powerful.
running for political office, extremely rewarding experience. The first time I ever ran, I ran for the city council and did not win. But the next day I shed one tear, and it was just a tear of relief more than anything that it was over. But as I really reflected on that experience, people began to know who I was. My name was plastered all over town. I used the same colors that my company logo. I used those for my campaign, same fonts, things like that, to kind of tie things together so that when people saw those colors, that font, that feeling in their marketing, they would recognize me. The second and third time I ran for school board, I won very handily. So I will say that for any real estate or mortgage person, anybody that's in a community facing role, being involved at the municipal or school district or any of those sorts of governmental agencies, when you run for office, you cannot get that press any other way. And so I'm Michelle Walker. I'm Michelle Walker, whether I'm running for office, whether I'm selling real estate, whether I'm serving as president in an association, I'm Michelle Walker. And so people get to know who you are, they start to recognize you. And I just don't think that there's a better way for somebody to really break into the community and become really well known. Are you frozen? I think he's frozen, or maybe it's me. I'm not sure. Okay, so it's probably Will. So I guess maybe I can just go on and talk a little bit more about giving back to get ahead. You know, it sounds very self-serving. And so I want to be very cautious in saying that it was an accidental serving your way to success is the other thing that way that I try to put it into words is, community service, even if you're not in a sales position, it's so critically important, especially now as our communities seem to be very divided. Being a person that everybody knows that they can have a conversation with and not worry about your reactions and things like that. It's a very wonderful way to be involved, give back, and to also help yourself become known. And you're back.
I'm back. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know.
That's okay.
What happened? So what I was wanting to get into next is technology obviously has disrupted the real estate industry massively. So how have you integrated technology with your localized approach?
So we definitely have a local web presence. With technology and the local approach, there's a lot of things that they say to do that I've never really done. But I've always wanted to feature different local businesses and things like that on our website. And I've not honestly gotten around to doing that at this point. But I will tell you that because of all the community service, I was actually able to just hire 4 interns at no cost. And those 4 interns will hopefully be able to take over some domains and things that I purchased years ago that we haven't actually worked on yet. So, it's not super technical when you're dealing in the local community.
And I think you also mentioned when we were talking before the webinar, they're going to start a TikTok account for you.
That was their idea. So I'm very excited about that. I'm sure we'll see all sorts of fun, silly things. And they'll probably have me dancing and I don't know what else. So it'll be fun.
The challenge there, because your approach is so personal and genuine, that to sort of not lose that, because sometimes I think we feel a bit removed when we're being solicited through the internet or email or whatever medium it may be. So probably having those young interns helps you to understand the different channels. And I'm always amazed when I hang out. I don't think I'm that old. I'm in my mid-30s, but when I hang out with my cousins and stuff who are much younger, I don't even know half of the social media platforms that they're on and how they're communicating and everything. So that's certainly valuable. And then in terms of when you hire new agents or agents you've had for a long time, what sort of programs do you have, or not even necessarily programs, but advice and mentorship do you give them at your brokerage to help them grow?
So we do all of our continuing education classes in-house. I do one-on-one coaching with the agents that want that coaching and accountability. We're a pretty laid back brokerage. I have an agent that sells over 100 transactions a year. And every year I say, hey, do you want to sit down and do a business plan for next year? And he says, absolutely not. That's too much pressure. I want nothing to do with it. And he doesn't even have a CRM. So it goes to show there are a million different ways to be successful in this industry. You don't have to be the super technological person that is, email marketing and using a CRM. You can do relationship and hold happy hours and meet people. For the agents that want that accountability, I become more of an accountability coach for them. But a funny story about that is I had an agent one time. He said, okay, I need you to hold me accountable. I said, I got it. I got it. So the next day I sent him a text message and I said, hey, how's it going? How's your day going so far? And he texted back and he said, great. So I texted him back and I said, hey, well, what are you doing today? What's your day look like? And he responded and he said, well, I've got a really busy day, but it doesn't include doing anything to further my real estate career. And so I found that really to be refreshing because, salespeople tend to tell you what you want to hear. Oh yeah, I've got all these things planned. I'm working on my database and doing all these things. But that's, I think, one of the fun parts of having this casual, laid back atmosphere is that my agents are super honest with me. They're comfortable to tell me, hey, thanks for asking, but today I'm not focused on real estate. And, that's, to me, the culture that we've built is that we're more like a family. And so they're comfortable talking to me about whatever it is they want to talk about. I always say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I tell the agents that. I do Mondays with Michelle, leave my calendar open on Mondays. They can pencil in anytime they want to meet with me. We can work on all sorts of things. So it's kind of a case by case, more individual approach to meeting agents where they are and providing them with what they need.
It's very unique because you hear so many times about, everybody has a method or a plan and it's very rigid and everybody, here's my plan. And if you do this, you're going to close 100 transactions this year, 200 next year, but it's got to be only done this way. It sounds like obviously, you're accepting and allow people to choose whatever method works best for them. And then, being a family, sometimes in a family environment, you have to give tough love. So how do you sort of balance that where you're giving people a long leash and you're allowing them to try different things, but also making sure that they're motivated and that they're not, just sort of sitting there and, not reaching their full potential?
Sure. Well, the thing is I can only motivate somebody so much. They have to be motivated themselves. I think agents are often their own worst enemy. And the agents that are struggling to motivate themselves, those are the agents that you'll see hop from brokerage to brokerage. We have very low turnover. And so what I tell our agents are as successful as they want to be, because I can hold their hands and walk them through and get their database set up and teach them how to do digital marketing and all of these things. But if they don't actually do it, they're not going to be successful. So, that's one thing that I think is interesting about our industry is you have so many people willing to share everything they're doing. Part of the reason they do that is because they know the agents aren't going to do it. You can try to motivate somebody, but they've got to have that motivation within themselves. And I think that's partially where some real estate teams have come from, is because some folks, would rather show property all the time. They're not interested in marketing for new clients and things like that. And that's where the team concept came in is, you've got folks that are generating business, but can't handle all of those showings and things. So I think it's an industry where you've really got to motivate yourself, or you've got to work for somebody else that's going to require you to perform.
Very cool. And like everybody in this crazy time, I'm sure you were forced, in March to completely change your approach and how you do business. So I guess we'll look at that from a couple different perspectives. But to start off with, how did you keep, your family, your brokerage, all your agents so close? Because it sounds like, from the conversations we've had before, your office is very casual. There's a couch. It's almost like a house, and people are
Yep.
just hanging out. So to try and create that environment virtually is very difficult. So how did you pivot so that your agents felt supported and that you were there for them and they still had all the resources that they would being in the office?
So we actually utilized that time and built out, did a complete remodel on the office because there were very few people here. It allowed us to kind of take down, we had what I call the cube farm, a big open bullpen kind of area with tons of cubicles and things like that, that they were always empty. Agents would throw their name on it and, say that was theirs, but they didn't keep things in the desk. It was just useless space. So that's when we took the time to we added some more private offices, and then we turned it into a much more casual feeling. Now we have 2 locations. One is in St. Louis County, where things are still not all the way open back up, and St. Charles County, where things closed down for maybe a couple weeks. So we have 2 very different groups of agents. The agents that are in St. Louis tend to be much more COVID conscious. The agents that are in St. Charles County are not as concerned. It kind of boggles my mind. I actually had COVID in November, and we shut the office down for almost a month because, we just didn't want to be the cause of spreading that. So we sort of pivoted. I will tell you some things that happened during this time is I had 2 brokerages that we took over. One of them was very small. She had 5 agents, and she was a very high producing agent that had opened her own brokerage about 5 years prior. And when the pandemic hit, she sent her staff home. She was the only one in the office for weeks, and did a lot of soul searching and trying to figure out, what's next for her, and where that ended up was her and I had worked together in women's council and different organizations. And she reached out one day and she said, I just don't think I want to be on my own anymore. I don't think I need the staff. I don't think I need all of these things. And so we worked out an arrangement, and she's now a part of our company. So that was, an outstanding thing that helped us grow quite a bit. And then I got a call from another brokerage in St. Louis, and they had about 20 agents. So we've grown 50% since the pandemic hit. And it's because of those relationships that I have through my service in the communities and service within the realtor organization and Women's Council of Realtors, that these things happen. So the other broker called, very similar. She said, I just want to sell. When we all come back to normal, if there's ever going to be such a thing again, I just want to sell real estate. I don't want to be responsible for training. I don't want to have to worry about the overhead. And so we took over her office as well. And so for me, the pandemic has been a blessing in disguise. Fortunately, I have not lost anyone close to me. And so, I am very sad that we've seen so much loss as a result of this pandemic. But I, as far as my business, we have grown by 50% since the start of the pandemic.
Wow. So yeah, that's like you said, a direct correlation between your involvement in the community and the quality of the relationships that you forged throughout the years. So people look for comfort and strength in those tough times, and it sounds like that's part of what drove them to you.
Well, they've brought so much value to our company, having 2 other brokers join. I mean, just the sounding board, having those folks now on our team to be able to bounce ideas and work through issues. And, it's been wonderful because it's also a challenge, to go into business with 2 folks like that are already very established. I've learned so much. So it's been wonderful.
Very cool. Now, I know that one of your big initiatives is diversity and inclusion, and you've served on a number of NAR boards and local boards to help promote these causes. So, could you just give us a little background on what sort of boards and groups you've been involved with and why it's important to you?
Sure, absolutely. So I've been involved with the National Association of Realtors for almost 10 years now. And this year, I'm actually serving as the chair of the National Association of Realtors Diversity Committee. Last year, I was in the vice chair role. Bikel Fresnel was our chair. And, when you get into a role in diversity, you don't necessarily expect for there to be a lot going on. Historically, it's been sort of a quiet committee, working in the background to try and move initiatives forward and things. What we experienced in 2020 with the murder of George Floyd, it just catapulted those conversations forward. And I'm so honored to have been able to participate in those conversations. But I have to say that, the committee chair for diversity with NAR, Bikel, she reached out to the NAR leadership team and she said, we really need to have a conversation. And so we started having conversations with the National Association leadership and the diversity committee, which led to working with the strategic thinking committee, the AEC committee, and all the different committees within the National Association. Somewhat sort of the culmination of that work was our standard of practice 10-5 in the code of ethics. So in November, they passed standard of practice 10-5, which says that realtors shall not use racial epithets, slurs, hate speech, harassing speech, and things of that nature against protected classes. And, it's been fascinating because it's quite a hot topic. Some agents love it. Some agents don't think we should be doing those sorts of things. And then they also made changes through the professional standards process to apply the code of ethics, at least this Article 10, which refers to discrimination, to all of a realtor's activities. Matt DeFanis said it best. He said, you can no longer be a realtor by day and a keyboard bigot by night. And so I am very proud and honored to have been able to be a part of the conversations that made that happen. I think what we've seen over the last couple of weeks with the storming of the Capitol and things like that is these conversations are going to have to continue. And, I don't know where they go, but it's amazing to see how NAR has embraced diversity and inclusion and equity and is looking to do everything that we can as an organization to make sure everyone has a seat at the table and is represented appropriately.
No, it's very cool. And like you said, with everything being in the spotlight right now, there's no better time to, really dive in and make a difference. Are there any specific initiatives or goals that you either yourself or at the NAR level have for 2021?
Oh, goodness. Not particularly. That's kind of a tough one. One of the things that I will say is within my local association in St. Charles, we are in a community that's about 89% white as far as population. However, the members of our association are 97% white. So I think that we've got to look inside of our organization to figure out how we can make people that don't look like me feel more welcome to participate and become members and be involved, because I know there's realtors out there. I'm just suspecting that maybe they're not joining at our local association and maybe they're going to a different association where they maybe feel more welcome.
Very cool. And finally, what I would love to get into, and this was a hot topic as I mentioned to you on our last webinar, is Clubhouse. So our CEO and founder, Natalia, is a big fan of it. It's provided a ton of value for us as a company. And I know that you recently just got involved in your first Clubhouse. So tell us a little bit about that and then how you plan on using it going forward.
Sure, absolutely. So I've been on Clubhouse, I think 9 days now. So for folks that know about Clubhouse, that means my party hat went away. When you're new on Clubhouse, you get a little party hat on your profile. So as you go into rooms and conversations, people know you're new. So I got on about 9 days ago, and I would say in the first 5 days I was on, I probably slept a total of maybe 7 hours. So Clubhouse it's a social media platform, but it's conversation only. There's no video, there's no messaging. It is truly hopping into rooms and having conversations. So what it's allowed is I've been able to connect with people across the country that I don't know if there's any other way I would have ever connected with these folks. Being involved in the education world, the real estate industry, and also, on the political side, I think that Clubhouse is allowing for conversations that were very siloed before. We talk about diversity in real estate. We talk about equity in education. We talk about these things, but there's never really been a platform where you could connect them all. And so I'm really excited about Clubhouse. I think that the conversations at this point they tend to be pretty high level. The platform is for iPhone only right now. So I apologize for any of the Android users out there right now. It is iPhone only. It is in beta still. So there's a few glitches here and there, but it's honestly, it's an amazing platform. I started my first room on Monday night. That was the day that I lost my party hat, and was able to invite realtors from across the country. Nikki Beauchamp from New York City, Nina Dosanjh from San Francisco, Kenya Burrell Van Warmer from Houston, Tommy Choi from Chicago. I can name them all, but I know I'm going to miss somebody, so I apologize. But basically, Monday afternoon, I said, you know what? I want to start this room. Let me see if I can get anybody to participate and have this conversation. So I started a room. I called it Real Talk about race and real estate on MLK Day. And I reached out to a friend. I said, hey, let's do this room. She sent me an agenda. She had it all lined out. I said, that's perfect, because that's not my style. She's very detailed. I'm not the detail person. And we were able to put together this outstanding group very quickly, had that conversation. We only got to the first question. The conversation and the folks that were in what they call the audience on Clubhouse, we let them all up on stage, and there were some very candid conversations and things that were discussed that, frankly, folks that look like you and I don't necessarily hear these stories. So we don't know what it's like to look different or to be different. And so it was amazing. And before we were, I don't know, halfway through, people were saying, are you going to do this every week? Can we do this all the time? And so now we're going to have our own show on Clubhouse. Well, it's not a show, it's a room or a club. I don't know what they even call it, because I'm so new still. But every Monday evening at 7:30, we're going to have real talk about race and real estate. And so very candid conversations to just keep the conversation in the forefront and give other real estate professionals, and even those not in the industry, the opportunity to listen to a conversation that they may not be able to hear, or they may not be comfortable going to listen into a conversation like that in person, that they can just hop in and they can listen and learn. And I think that's what it's really all about on Clubhouse, is listening and learning and offering value where you can. So I started the room, but I really didn't end up having a whole lot to say, because there were so many outstanding people that jumped in and carried that conversation. So it was pretty exciting.
Very cool. I find it so unique with all the different ways we have of communicating: email, message board, Zoom, social media, you name it. And again, I'm admittedly an Android user, so I'm waiting for that to come out so I can join, because everybody that I talk to that has used it says they don't sleep for about a week. So you're right on par with that.
True statement. True statement.
It just amazes me. It seems like everybody, whether it's talking about race and diversity or business, whatever the topic may be, it's just so engaging on a level I've never seen on any other, form of communication, maybe other than in person. But you have the advantage of being able to bring in, so many more people from so many other different places in the country and the world,
Right.
the same conversation.
It is. And there's conversations about everything you can possibly think of. There's gardening clubs. There's a lot of marketing folks, a lot of digital marketing, content creators, things like that. So anybody that is watching this, I would encourage you, if you're not on Clubhouse, go ahead and get signed up so that you can get in when they do open it up. I guarantee you that if you're on Clubhouse and you're listening into the conversations, you will pick up several things that you can put into practice right away within your business. One of them that I learned, and I feel kind of silly sharing this because so many people probably already know it, but on an iPhone, if you go to general and then settings and then to your keyboard, you can do text replacement. So one of my agents may send me a message and say, hey, Michelle, can we chat? I need about 20 minutes. I can now say, I can send a message by just hitting a couple letters. So I can use that text responder to short code things, and anything that you're consistently sending out, maybe it's just a check-in with your clients or whatever, letting them know, hey, I'm thinking about you. You can do that in the back end of the iPhone and then just put a couple letters and it'll automatically do it. So that was something really kind of that I thought was cool that I had not used before, that I got off Clubhouse.
I guess the next thing that they'll need to show is how to put in parental controls to limit the time on Clubhouse so that you still sell real estate.
There actually are conversations about that. Is Clubhouse addictive, and how can you make sure that you're not spending too much time?
Certainly, you need that balance. Well, Michelle, I appreciate you coming on today and taking the time. This was a really good conversation, and we would love to have you back again in the next couple months.
Thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing Natalia around Clubhouse. Hopefully the rest of you guys will get on soon.
Definitely. We'll have to check out your party room or room, whatever it's called. We'll find a way, and we'll find you and check it out.
That sounds great. Monday, 7:30.
Monday, 7:30.
Central Standard Time.
Perfect. Thanks, Michelle. Everybody else listening, my colleague Valley is now going to take us through a demo and show you our property offer management platform.